Hey everybody, I know it's been a while since I posted, so I thought I'd show something in progress. As Chuck pointed out, I probably needed to to vent the steam brake valve, the Locoparts brake valve, and I haven't done that yet. I haven't made any fittings, so that's what I'm starting tonight. This this fitting, this kind of shows you a work in progress. This is 3/8 inch hex brass held in a 5C collet inside my Grizzly lathe. And the first thing I did was to face off the end and center drill and drill it 1/8 inch through, an inch long. And then I turned this diameter down to 1/4 inch, and I threaded it using the tailstock die holder to 1/4 28 thread. I cleaned up the hex, filed it down a little bit so it's nice and clean and will fit a wrench very nicely. Then while this whole thing is solid like this, I went ahead and turned this little neck part down to a 1/4 inch diameter using the cutoff tool. Let's see if I can hold the little iPhone over that way and catch a glimpse of it. There we go. If you can see that or not. This is the cutoff tool that I use, and it works great for getting inside a very small diameter, a small workspace. Next thing I'll do is to turn this diameter down to 5/16 outside diameter, and then I'll part the whole thing off, catch it, remove this brass stock, and then I'll flip it around and hold it in the same collet chuck by this part right here that my fingernail is on, and that I'll use a 1/8 inch reamer to align it when I tighten the collet chuck to make sure it's perfectly centered. And because I'll have this turned down already, all I'll need to do is center drill and then countersink the little conical portion, and then use the tailstock die holder and thread this, the 5/16 40 model engineering thread. And then this fitting will be done. And the purpose of this fitting, this will be an adapter. This part will go inside the Locoparts steam brake valve. This part will connect to a little vent line that I'll have to make, that you've seen me make recently in other posts. Let me walk over. Well, first let me show you a little diagram here. This is what I'm talking about making. While I was away on a business trip at night, I sketched out a little idea about what I needed to make. And so that's the part. And here we go. Here's how I keep my taps and dies in a little container like that, a little Altoids container. You can see this is the 1/4 inch 28 bottoming die. I used the piece of tape to make sure that I didn't work the die too far into the Locoparts brake valve. Which, bear with me as I walk over here. I'll show that to you right now. Turns out this was not this hole was the vent hole. For some odd reason, it wasn't tapped, so it was drilled with something like a number 3 drill, which is the tap size for 1/4 28. So I went ahead and I used a regular starting tap, and then I used that bottoming tap, and I used the trick. You can see some of the residue here. I put Crisco on the taps so that the chips wouldn't go into the brake valve. The Crisco keeps the chips stuck to the taps themselves. So that's tapped and ready to go. The adapter will stick out a little bit, about 3/4 of an inch, kind of like these parts are. Well, it won't stick out that long because half of it will be inside here. But it'll stick out, and then I'll be able to make a little 3/16 inch brass, or excuse me, copper vent line that'll go down here and just vent underneath. I appreciate Chuck pointing that out to me, and it's a fun way to get tuned up after not having had a chance to make anything for a week. Make this little part. Another thing I realized, I am very glad I did this mock-up here, because I was thinking this was going to be a pretty good arrangement, but this the way this copper tube is here, it interferes with the prop rod inside the lid of the cab, the top of the roof of the cab. So I'll have to play around with that piping a little bit more. I think we'll this weekend I'll concentrate on making the brake valve vent. And the next thing I might do is work on the the water line that goes to the boiler. There's the boiler check valve up there where that other Altoids box is. Work on the line that comes out of the axle pump into that, and then comes back and connects to where the bypass valve will be. Here's the supply line that takes water to the axle pump. That's already completed, but I need to make the return line. So that'll be a good thing to get done. It's obviously major significance. Get that thing done before I work on the others. So that's tonight's update. I'll keep you posted. Thanks for watching.